My name is Daniel Hopman, and I'll be taking you through the batteries, chargers, and through our AC charging solutions on this trailer, and then Troy Effort will be taking you through the charging on the caddies of the zero turn and our energy cube. So we'll start off covering our handheld batteries, and as we've talked about throughout the entire day, we are achieving best-in-class products in every category. So whether it's a string trimmer or a chainsaw or a blower to the mowers, we want to be best in class. But every single one of our products has one thing in common. What do you think that one thing is? They all run on a battery, right? So we've got to have best-in-class batteries if we want to have best-in-class products, right? So traditionally, a lot of our competitors have standard lithium-ion NMC batteries, nickel, cobalt, manganese batteries, and we have a lot of these batteries in the market as well. This is what's used on all of our consumer products. But again, in order to achieve the Optimus level, we have some new technologies that we've introduced in batteries. One would be our tabless. This is relatively new to the market. This still uses a cylindrical cell, you know, these little round cells, they kind of look like AA batteries, but the cylindrical cells have a lot less resistance. There's a lot, it's like taking a 10-lane highway, and it used to have to merge into 1 or 2 lanes, where now it, you know, has more lanes available, so there's less resistance inside that cylindrical battery. What that means is less heat, so you're not heating up the battery, which means that you can charge it faster. It means that you can discharge faster, getting more power out of it, but also heat kills batteries, which means you're going to get longer life cycles out of a tabless battery than you will a standard cylindrical battery. And then we also have pouch cells. These are flat stack, like you'd find almost in like laptops or handheld iPhones, things like that, right? These prismatic. They're kind of cool because of their flat, and you can stack a lot of them, so you can get a lot more batteries kind of into a compact space. But you see a lot of the same benefits between the tabless battery and the pouch, that they both can charge and discharge faster. You're going to get more life cycles out of them. So the value on a tabless or a pouch battery is a lot higher, because you're going to get, you know, 2 or 2.5 times the life cycles out of one of these batteries than you would out of the traditional NMC batteries. New to the lineup is we're looking at a 700. So we have our 530. I think you heard a lot about this today. A lot of you were asking over in the chainsaws, like, what's the best battery for the chainsaw? Just when it comes to like power, weight, everything, this is just a beast of a battery. It has all the power you need to run all of our you know, energy hungry chainsaws. But we're looking at going to the 700, same power, but just a little bit more capacity than our 530 has. And then again, just to touch on talking about capacity, I know Yin touched on this a little bit. You always hear people talking about like amp hours, like how many amp hours that battery. We like to talk about it in watt hours, and we try to make it easy to know what the watt hour is by making it the model number. So if we have a Core 300, it's a 300 watt hour battery. If we have a 530, it's a 530 watt hour battery. And why I think it's important to point that out is everything's measured in watts, right? Maybe a 60 watt light bulb, or how much does that refrigerator take, you know, in your house, 300 watts. Your utility bill comes in kilowatts, right? That's how much you get charged by. So energy's measured in watts, and it's basically taking volts times amps gives you watts, right? It's a very basic formula to get to the watts. And why I wanted to point that out, that it's important, is if you have competitors that are using a 36 volt battery or an 18 volt battery, for example, if we say an 18 volt battery, 5 amps, it's a 90 watt hour battery, right? When you look at our 5.5, because it's a 72 volt battery, it's a 400 watt hour. So it's literally, you know, you say, oh, this one's 5 amp hours and yours is 5.5, but it's literally 4 times the capacity of the competitor's 18 volt 5 amp hour battery. Does that make sense? Okay, with that, let's move on to our chargers, unless anybody has any questions on batteries.
So one thing on charging, what nobody tells you is the charging only begins when the battery reaches its normal temperature. So having batteries which don't get hot in the first place, you can charge them after you use them. The time it takes to actually take a charge is much less. So you need to consider always and say, like, a hot battery doesn't charge. Like, no charger will accept a hot battery. So you need to add that time on top of the charging time.
Yeah, great point.
When you look at competitors with lower voltage batteries.
Yes, sir.
Quick, between tabless and pouch cell, is there an advantage one way or the other?
So we started with the pouch batteries when we stepped up from our standard cylindrical batteries. The tabless really wasn't kind of as prominent as it is today. There's a lot of similarities between pouch and tabless. So for us, what we're going to do is we're going to match what we think is the best battery and the best cell technology for each tool. Okay, well, let's move on to chargers. We'll talk about these for just a moment before we move into our AC charging trailer. It's quite warm in that trailer, so we'll try to keep it super fast when we go in there. We do have a fan for that trailer, but we didn't bring a second fan out. So this is the dual port charger that we have had in the market for many years. It's an 8 amp hour charger, right? So if you're putting 2 batteries on here, it's charging, 4 amps on each side, which is pretty good, but this is kind of standard in the market, which is why it says Greenworks commercial, because it's a great 82 volt charger. But keeping with the theme of Optimus, you want to have the best of the best in every category. We came out with the Optimus charger. One of the first things you notice with the Optimus charger is you can wall mount it, right? So if the battery was in this one, you try to wall mount it, it's a bit of a downfall in the design of this model, right? So now you can just, you can keep it this way and mount it, just sitting on a shelf, or again, you can mount it up on the wall and it's a lot easier to charge this way. This has a power correcting factor in it, which means that the PCBA board is a lot more efficient. So this charger is now able to put out 16 amps. So you can charge twice as fast as we could with the 8 amp hour charger. And we'll show you a couple solutions of ways to charge multiple batteries at once on our trailer.